Dr. Jens Gobrecht, Director, the European representation of ABDA. Now, tell me please what ABDA is.
ABDA, it's the Federal Union of German Association of Pharmacists. It is the umbrella organization which includes all associations of pharmacists and all chambers of pharmacists in Germany.
Now you're particularly interested in what's called TTIP.
Yeah.
You get these acronyms all the time. Tell me what that's all about.
Well, TTIP is the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. It's a draft of a trade agreement which is presently in the state of negotiation between the United States and the countries of the European Union, represented by the European Commission.
So how is it expected that TTIP will affect pharmacy services?
That's a very good question. However, there are two general problems. The first problem is that we actually do not know about the text of TTIP, since it is under negotiation. And therefore, presently it would be pure speculation to comment about specific effects of Ttip on the pharmaceutical services. Trade as such is something very positive. Nevertheless, the second problem is that TTIP is extremely complex, as you have seen from my presentation. And with the different pharmacy systems and differently organized pharmacy services in the countries of the European Union, and based also on the already made commitments on trade and on trade liberalization at WTO in the General Agreement on Trade and Services, every country has to evaluate what effect possible commitments on liberalization would and could have on the pharmacy services. And this is an enormous task. And however, it has to be done by every European country to make an informed decision.
Yes. What type of input has pharmacy itself as a profession had into these discussions?
Well, pharmacy had made an input both on the European level and also on the national level. On the European level, we support the opinion of the European Parliament that expects negotiators' clear commitment to exclude current and future services of general interest, as well as services of general economic interests, from the scope of application of TTIP. And this is to ensure that national and, if applicable, local authorities can retain the full right to introduce, adopt, maintain, and repeal any measures with regard to the commissioning, organization, funding, and provision of public services as provided in the treaty. So this is nothing new. The rights are stipulated in the treaty, and the Parliament wants that these rights are retained.
Just as a final point, what are the hot topics of pharmacy at the moment in Europe?
Very good questions here. As I said before, in Germany, the health system is characterized by the idea of solidarity and the idea, that's the second idea, of doctors and pharmacists being liberal professions. This is not understood in every country what liberal professions are. And both ideas seem to be heavily under pressure by the European Commission. And under the disguise and the smokescreen of the internal market, the Commission wants to harmonize liberalize health systems against the principle that is laid down in the European treaties. Well, I think the European Commission by mistake believes that especially deregulating liberal professions in Europe might lead to higher competition, to lower prices for consumers, increased economic growth, and maybe also increased employment. But so far, the internal market strategy excludes healthcare services as such. It is more focusing on other liberal professions like architects, and accountants. However, it remains to be seen whether this approach will stay the same in the future. And we think that the European Commission is taking the wrong way here, which will increasingly separate the European population from the, in essence, good idea, or originally good idea of the European Union, as we have unfortunately recently seen in the United Kingdom. And my personal humble opinion is that the term unity in diversity and subsidiarity might be a better approach than the approach of the Commission to harmonize everything.
An optimistic note. I've been talking to Jens Gobrecht.